Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the beautiful city of Las Vegas. We are here for the Vainglory Premier League Week 2 of the Summer Open. We are here at the Aria Resort and Casinos Poker Go studio, and we're ready to jump back onto Sovereign's Rise to find out what our NA teams have got to bring to the table. Last week was the play-ins. Now it's time for the real deal. My name is Munchables. I'm going to be joined as ever by Tasty Bacon as we head into our North American games.
Yeah, we saw earlier today Team Clash was able to showcase why they were a dominant team in Europe, and right now Tribe is going to be looking to do the same here today.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's take a look at the matchups that are going to be coming your way across the course of today. Earlier on in Europe, we had two series, but Danger Zone did not show up for theirs, so Raw Fury take the default win. Then Clash managed to get a 2-0 victory over Great Inboxes in commending style. Then later on, we're going to be moving into North America. Rampage Godslow are going to be able to take themselves a default win as Playful Things have disbanded, so they will not be playing any further in the tournament, which means we have just one North American series today. It's going to be Tribe versus Toxic Peace.
Yeah, and we've seen Tribe be very dominant. They're going to look to keep that trend going. We take a look at the bracket brought to you by Razer Phone, and you can see this is going to be on the A side of the bracket. We already have one of these teams taken care of, so only 15 teams left to be 15 teams left in the bracket, I should say, excuse me. But it's going to be now Tribe versus Toxic Peace to see who will be facing off against the side of Rampage Gods.
Absolutely. We're in the A quadrant today, but then tomorrow we'll be moving to the C quadrant, I believe, and then next weekend would it be and D as well. But when we look at the overall bracket, Tasty Bacon, what is the big matchup? What's the big ticket matchup for the round of 16?
For me, I'm actually mostly going to be looking towards Nova. It's one of the top teams, which sounds surprising to me. Oh, top team versus a play-in team. But their play-in team is Liberation X.
Yes.
That is not just any other play-in team. Liberation X is a squad that can put together big games when it matters most. And so Nova versus Liberation X, it's almost a shame that it has to happen this early in the tournament.
Yeah, honestly, I'm just excited to have those names on the map together. We'll see that next weekend. But let's talk about the matchup that's coming up today. And most importantly, let's talk about the fact that Tribe is stepping back onto the map. Let's have a look at them in preseason in our Rockstar Rewind.
Yeah, we saw Tribe be very dominant for the most part. There was a couple times where they struggled a little, but it was overall very cohesive play.
Absolutely. And Toxic Peace have had a pretty great showing so far as well. Last weekend in our play-ins, we managed to see Toxic Peace taking a 2-0 victory against Jimmy. It wasn't flawless, but it definitely showed great promise for the team. And we actually spoke to Toxic Peace, to Gary's disciple, during the week in our Razer phone in to see how he's feeling going into this.
Hey, my name is Gary's disciple. I play for Toxic Peace. Basically, going into this game, we're extremely excited. Like, there are no words for how excited we are. We've gotten this far into VPL. That's exciting enough, but the fact that we're playing against Tribe is even more exciting. As a team, we've been together for quite a while, probably like 4 or 5 months. And I know that doesn't stack up against most of the other teams, but we are quite a good team. And we really can't wait. We made a lot of mistakes in our last game against Jimmy, and we intend to correct those mistakes in the future with this Tribe game. So we're really excited, and we can't wait to see Tribe on the battlefield.
It's great to hear from these players and hear how excited Gary's disciple is to be going up against Tribe. Because let's remember, this is an open tournament. Anyone could enter here, and they're far enough in the tournament that they get to go against former world champions.
I mean, well, current world champions, if you want
yeah,
to
guess,
really.
yeah.
But it's one of the situations where, we talked about it earlier, where you're not realistically expecting a team to beat Tribe this early in the tournament, but not many other teams are going to be able to say that they went against the Tribe. Like, if I go and play games with people on my friends list, none of us can say we played against Tribe in a competitive tournament.
Setting, yeah.
So it's definitely it's a really cool thing to see that they have that mindset, but this is also a chance that if they can get that upset, all of a sudden you're now that team that beat Tribe.
I mean, one thing that maybe could swing things in their favor is we're going to be playing on update 3.6. Now, it's not the biggest update in the world, but it has changed things slightly. Lance has had a buff to his damage reduction, Kensei had a buff to his mobility, Tony had a bit of a tweak, but it was more rearranging where his damage is in his kit. And Celeste had a bit of a nerf to her supernova.
Yeah, and a lot of the changes here weren't really massive. Like I said, Lance is probably the largest change in terms of like an actual direct buff or nerf. You know, a lot of the nerfs that happened in 3.6 were pretty minor. I don't think anyone's going to stop playing Celeste just because she does 30 less damage on a supernova, but it is what it is. One change that we don't really talk about is going to be the damage from minions in the jungle. Yes. Every single jungle camp had their damage increased a little bit, and so now that could make a difference. If you're trying to be really greedy, go for one extra camp, all of a sudden you may not be able to do so.
Absolutely. Well, we're going to be jumping on into this series. The draft is underway, ladies and gentlemen. It's time to see what Tribe can do stepping onto the map, and whether Toxic Peace has what it takes to take on a team of this caliber. I'm just excited to see Tribe playing in 5v5 once again. Obviously, we kind of got a preview during the EPL, but they're actually going to start things off by banning Flicker away. It's going to be answered by a Baron ban, so already a very unconventional set of bans in the draft.
Yeah, I mean, the Flicker ban, we saw a few teams again starting to run this Flicker in EPL.
Yeah.
We've seen it a couple times now in VPL, and Tribe just doesn't want to deal with it. It's one of those heroes that can just disrupt things and just kind of cause a shakeup that you're not really wanting to deal with.
Also, Baron, we have seen sneaking into the meta, so maybe Toxic Peace kind of afraid of the carry potential, because, you know, if you can get a Baron rolling, it's very difficult to shut that down. And with the likes of, you know, D'Enzio on this squad, if that's in his hands, I don't know how you ever stop a weapon power Baron in that scenario. Fortress was banned away, very good ban. Tony, the first pick, it's not something we've seen first picked a ton, but is very strong. Then Lance is going to be locked in. I'm excited to see a Lance.
Lance and Art and Finn, excuse me, like that is already the makings of a very, very tanky team, and maybe that's the decision they've made. You say, okay, you know what? We need to be able to survive against Tribe, so let's get this tankiness, let's get this big front line up front, and just worry about the carries later.
A ton of peel to deal with things like a Reza that has just been locked in. I would love to see now from Toxic Peace for them to go for some hard carries, things like your Celeste, things that are going to be able to look towards the later stages of the game. If you could just survive Tribe for long enough, that with these massive bruises in front of them, might be able to just hard carry a team fight.
Yeah, something like the Celeste, maybe a Scarf can fill that role as well. You know, something like, say, you could even throw in, I'm trying to think, like the Kestrel could be another one. Like,
I mean, Kestrel's going to be locked in here.
They're going to grab the Kestrel, but the concern that you have to have is because they picked up these two big frontliners early, that kind of shows their cards. That shows their hand, really. You know they're going to be trying to play, you know, something that's going to look to stay back and just be safe. And Tribe did a great job of answering by getting Kensai and Reza. Those are two heroes that are just going to dive past there and say, you know what, we don't care about your front line. We can get past the front line and onto your squishies. So it's kind of the risk of showing too much of your composition with your first couple picks.
Other side of that, though, when you look at the two carries that have been picked for Toxic Peace, you know, Malene and Kestrel are both pretty decent at looking after themselves. You know, both have a way of kind of just ducking out of the fight. Malene can drop into a pool, and Kestrel can obviously turn invisible, as long as you can do it quick enough, at least.
Or if you go weapon power.
Or if you go weapon power, that's very true. Arden is going to be locked in for Tribe, and then they're going to be rounding out their composition, trying to pick between a mage, Scarf or Vaya. Both very similar roles. It's going to be Scarf. D'Enzio, you know, arguably the best Scarf in the world. It has been said before, certainly in 3v3, so it's actually not going to go in his hands by the looks of things. They're going to be giving that over to Zelsia.
And then they're also a Grace to finish it off, but here's going to be the roster for the side of Toxic Peace, as it is going to be K Vortex alongside Zarku, and that is Cabbage and Panic, and Gary's Disciple, of course, who we heard from earlier.
Absolutely, and we can take a look at their opponents coming on into this one. And this is a roster that everybody already knows the names on this squad. It's going to be Tribe Gaming. Starting off, we're going to talk about D'Enzio. He's a huge player, always is. Max Green, Gabe Fizzle, I Love Joseph, and Zelsia. And then you also have T Tigers. He's going to be one of the substitutes for this team, which instantly you're just like, when T Tigers is in your substitute lineup, you know that you're a terrifying team to work against.
Yeah, I mean, that's what was said about this team when they first emerged to form this roster for 5v5 was who's going to not be starting, because it was 6 players that were all phenomenal, and well, this is what they rounded out with.
Absolutely. Well, we're about ready to jump on into our first North American match of the day. It's Tribe against Toxic Peace. so I'm ready to jump on Sovereign's Rise and pass it over to Humanist and Flash.
Ladies and gentlemen, the matchup you've all been waiting for, Tribe versus Toxic Peace. I'm here with Flash X, and we got a couple subs out on the map here as well, right, Flash?
Definitely looks to be the case. We got Zelciar stepping into the mix for Oracle, and it also looks like Gary's Disciple from that pre-game video is going to be stepping in for Kino Eden.
All right, well, we'll see how this plays out on both sides. A little bit of a remix going on. I'm really excited to see how Gary's Disciple does. That was a cool little interview he had.
Yeah, it was. He seemed confident. He seemed super stoked just about the opportunity to be able to play Tribe. I mean, that's an honor in and of itself, being able to play against the reigning world champions.
No, it's a real honor. And, you know, honestly, I think it's something that's pretty cool to see that fresh enthusiasm. It can be lost upon players, you know, once they've been at the top for a while.
Exactly. I definitely couldn't agree with you more. It's definitely cool to see Zelciar subbing in for Old School. Definitely a player that's been in the scene for the longest time and has always been one of the most, if not the most reliable substitute in Vainglory.
Dude, he totally has. He's always been one of my favorite players, and he's like been in that weird position of like he essentially will be right behind the number one laner, but he's too good for like the top team to give him away to play for another team, right? So yeah, he ends up being in that sub role. But dude, this guy, phenomenal player.
He's going to be on the Scarf. Definitely a slower early game here in North America compared to what we had at EU earlier. Everyone just trying to get their farm scale up a little bit. Not too much grouping, not too much fighting, but I'm sure we're going to see a lot of that as this game progresses.
I mean, do you think that's more attributed to just play style, or is that something strategic here?
It's interesting with the VPL finally getting back in a swing. We kind of saw North America start this way in the preseason. They were very, very slow, and EU came out aggressive, but North America definitely adapted and adjusted as the preseason went on. It'll be interesting to see how things play out now that we're in update 3.6 with a lot of new changes on the map.
It's going to be really interesting. Zarku moves in with the Impale. Would have been nice to land that onto the Scarf because they had rotations. Unfortunately, he misses, and that means there's going to be a little bit of a build-up here from Toxic Peace and not really amount to anything.
Yeah, we got a couple of hero balance changes both on the Finn and the Lance, which the Toxic Peace has decided to pick up here. Finn, a little bit of a nerf to his fortified health, and then Lance, a few changes across his entire kit. A little bit tankier, but not as much crystal scaling.
Which is interesting, right? Because, I mean, at least from my perspective, when I've seen the Lances, there wasn't too much crystal built up. So for that type of playstyle, at least, it's not really a big deal, right?
Yeah, my take on it is, Pete, they wanted to get Lance back into the meta. He hasn't really been a meta pick for quite some time. And in order to do that, they simply needed to make him tankier, which they definitely did. But they didn't want to go too crazy, because if they buffed that base damage reduction and left his crystal scaling alone, then that might have been a really deadly duo where Lance just becomes this frontline figure that's taking absolutely no damage.
And obviously, people have some nightmares about when Lance was that god. Panic! Incredibly panicked in mid here, or I would be. He drops very low, able to dip into Shadow Farm. He'll be able to get himself back with a recall. Means Cave Vortex will have to hold this lane, but Tribe's going to do a nice job to shove this forward.
Absolutely. Tribe actually going up 1k in gold despite there not being any kills here on the map. That's just a testament to how well they understand the game and their efficiency to be able to last hit everything and understand when they need to be invading to deny farm from the enemy team.
Jump up in top. Zio's going down low. It's going to be a trade, but Reza takes the kill first to give them the first blood, but it will be 1-1 when it's all said and done.
That's a great trade for the side of Tribe, because not only did they get the first blood, they had a huge wave underneath the enemy turrets. That's a lot of farm that they are going to be denying from the Kestrel.
Super important that you can deny the farm. It's oftentimes like even that even trade like that. It's just when you do it, the timing, realizing what you're going to get off the map, and that's why we see that net worth building up once again for Tribe. Pretty crazy lead that they've taken for really not having much action on the map. 5-minute mark here. Joseph has his aftershock complete. There's a little poke over on Zarku, but they're going to dip back into their own jungles. Zio kind of lurking around top, maybe thinking about going for the steal, but that's a 3 versus 1 situation.
This is the time where Tribe is going to start getting aggressive and looking for these kills. Joseph is very close to hitting level 6, and once he has Rez's ult online, he is going to start diving. They're going to want to continue to put pressure onto Gary's Disciple on this Kestrel, bring the turret down to half, but it looks like there's some skirmish going down in the bottom side jungle.
Yeah, that was a clean kill. Cabbage moved in for that weapon Trant, actually almost had it down. Tribe collapsed as 3. Zelsier dropped down from the lane, able to clean up the last hit on that kill. Up in top, turret goes down. Gary's Disciple caught out, and Dienzio will be getting his 2nd kill of the game. Suddenly, a whole lot of pressure is going to happen up on the top side of this map.
Yeah, Tribe definitely punishing Kestrel. They need to try and rotate Toxic Peace to help out their safe lane carry. It's too early into the game for him to be going behind. It looks like Zio has almost double the CS that Gary's Disciple does, and that is not something that you're going to want to see on your safe lane Kestrel.
Yeah, nobody ever wants to deal with that kind of situation, especially when you're facing up against Tribe and Lex Dienzio there. But with this, Tribe are going to go ahead and secure a Ghost Wing or attempt to do so. We'll see if they can lock this up, if there's going to be any rotations. I don't think that Toxic Peace rotate over.
I think this is a great decision by the side of Tribe. They understand that they are ahead. They're very tanky. Gabe Visual on that Arden, able to soak up all the damage from Ghostwing. Scarf, absolutely phenomenal at melting objectives, making sure they're continuing to extend this lead very early on in the game.
Oh, Gauntlet over the wall! Joseph tried to start the fight for his team, but he's the first to fall. Dragon's Breath from Zelsier melts onto 2. Means they can find the Kestrel. They'll force the Finn back under turret. In the meantime, the rest of Toxic Peace rotate around. They want to defend this turret. A nice Githian wall back, but they won't find the stun. Tribe have turret aggro, but they're doing a good job to go ahead and juggle it around. Toxic Peace still forced back. Let's see, is anybody going to drop here? Zelsier takes turret aggro right at the end. My goodness, that was pretty beautiful.
So much time underneath that tier 1 turret, and still no one from Tribe is going to drop. They're going to find the invade, be able to steal up that weapon buff, which is going to be really important. And now it's Gabe Visual and Zelsier collapsing onto the Grace.
Yeah, Gabe Visual's getting good damage down. He'll use the boost to avoid the impale, but Githian wall connects onto the Zelsier. You can see that the Malign really wanted to go for that kill, but it's a smart decision to back off of it.
Yeah, Toxic Peace doing what they can to hold their own. It's definitely an uphill battle. Tribe, such a good team. I'm sure they've been putting a lot of work into this 3.6 update. Not a lot of time to master it. We got Silvernail being globally banned this weekend, but definitely expect to see him impacting the meta next weekend.
Well, I'm excited to see a new hero on the rise. Definitely going to be really fun. I mean, it's actually pretty cool. I feel like we've been getting a lot of new heroes like consistently.
Yeah, SAMC has been churning them out. They said that they wanted to focus on the gameplay. They've definitely been doing that.
Dive
Looking for a dive.
Nether form detonator, get donked, Dienzio! He was in deep, feeling good, and Joseph just slams it home. My goodness, what do you do up there in that lane?
Hard to say. These buffs to Kensei, he was already good. They made him even deadlier. I'm sure that this is going to be a staple pick for your safe lane carries.
Yeah, I would imagine, like, if you have a player that's comfortable on it, you're definitely going to make this pick. He's fun, adds a whole lot to what you can achieve. And, dude, it is really hard to run away from that hero.
Yeah, he's so mobile. He's got those 3 dashes with the Kensho on top of that. When you have the front line carries, it's going to be interesting to see how that kind of impacts things.
This doesn't look good down in bottom. There's 4 from Tribe. 2 from Toxic Peace. They're going to try and make the defense. Maybe Malign rotates down, but Lance is pinned in top. Kestrel not here, but remember, I guess we do have that one-shot, one-kill that can fly across the map. I don't know how much damage it's going to do at this point. Interesting. I don't know if the engage is going to happen here or not, but can you talk about Kestrel's items right now? We'll come back to that one right now. Gary's Disciple able to actually get down into bottom. And with that, looks like it's the defense. A lot of patience coming out of Tribe. I don't know if they were just hanging out in bottom and they'll go for the turret and decide, hey, we'll back off, maybe go for Ghost Wing if things don't look good. right now they're going to go ahead and just back towards the Crystal Treant there, and Dienzio in the meantime will clean up the top half of the jungle. It's a 4 versus 5 situation. They're on the Crystal Treant. There is a scout camp down. Maline comes forward and Impale lands onto Tony. Tony, a 3-man taunt. The gauntlet drops down, stun right onto Lance. Burn, baby, burn. Netherform down there. Can you get one more attack? Joseph's there with the Scorcher. He's able to find it now, chasing, looking for more. Then next to follow, he can't get out. Grace drops the Divine Intervention, but gets Divine Shrek Max Green and bada boom! Gary's Disciple, you gotta run, dude. There's nowhere to go. Max Green gets the Crucible to stay alive. Zelsier taking up the Vein Crystal. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is why everybody is so scared to face up against this Tribe team.
Absolutely beautiful gauntlet out of Gabe Vizzle to kick that fight off. It's so early in the game. The only Finn is the one with the block, and he's not even the one who needs it. They're going to immediately look and turn onto this Ghost Wing, continue to press their lead even further. You asked about it earlier. Kestrel actually went with the Slumbering Husk as her first item. There has been so much pressure put onto her. She's sitting at 1 in 5 that she really felt like she needed the defense before completing any of her core offense items. I'm not sure that that's the right move, and if that's going to really help them be able to contest Tribe as this game progresses.
Seems like a tough situation to be in right now. Cabbage almost able to get out of there, will be taunted back. I don't know if they quite have the follow-up. They have a lot of damage coming out of Tribe's side. The Cabbage will get out, backed up by K-Vortex. On the top side of the map, though, we did see Zarku and Gary's Disciple take 1 turret, and they're going to take at least 2 here. So it feels like as Tribe hesitates across the map, I don't know, maybe a shot call thing or whatnot, 2 turrets go down.
Yeah, definitely a great heads-up play by the side of Toxic Peace, understanding where Tribe is positioned on the map. However, Tribe also playing 1 step ahead. They're going to immediately turn onto this Black Claw, and because Toxic Peace is so far separated, it's going to be really hard for them to contest. It's either going to be a 5v3 or a 4v3. They're going to try and push in these lanes so that Tribe doesn't have anything to work with, but Tribe looking for an engagement.
Not bad unless they get caught. Max Green flexing up, but the pull back means that maybe Finn's the only one that goes down unless someone else gets caught here. This should be a super just defensive mode. Dude, you don't want to get engaged on. He's caught. Like, anybody that gets caught here will die. Max Green taking turret damage. The gauntlet comes down. Gabe Vizzle zoning. Was that a 3-man stun? I'm not sure, but it felt good. Gabe Vizzle gets back. Looks like Kestrel's been caught. Kestrel will go down. Zarku peels with a stun onto Dienzio, but Grace falls. That's 4 down. Dienzio trying to pat the Ronin up into the healing platform. Doesn't actually care. They'll dance around the base. Black Claw just getting here, breathing that fire onto this first base turret. And this is a dangerous situation for Toxic Peace to find themselves in. Finn trying his best to defend here, but he is so slow. They're going to be able to catch him, burn him on down. Oh, the stun on the Zelsier cancels off the Dragon's Breath, and Dienzio zones all of Toxic Peace back. Try probably just take that and back out.
Yeah, definitely happy with that push, taking down the first armory. They went so deep into the base right there. They coordinated the aggro from the turrets incredibly well. Max Green took a turret shot for 1,136, immediately dropped it, shifted the aggro onto Gabe. They picked up all of the kills they needed, and now they're going to look to start to pressure these other lanes.
Well, I'm feeling Tribe here for the victory. We've seen larger net worth advantages even earlier today and earlier in this tournament. But Tribe, honestly, the kind of team that can play from behind and have a good fight. To have this kind of advantage means this is really just, you got to dig yourself out of a deep hole here.
Yeah, absolutely. They're Toxic Peace looking for an engagement on the Isle of Joseph.
Dude, that impale, but also Joseph with the juke to be in a good position there. That was just the heads up quick play.
It was a great idea by the side of Toxic Peace. The problem is Reza is so mobile that's just not the hero you want to try and be ganking.
Zio double buffed over the wall. Pops that Slumbering Husk onto Gary. Then Dienzio dropping back. Who's he want? He wants the Maline. Gauntlet comes down. They'll fight right in the thick of it as Zelsier will melt down the Kestrel. Lance doing his best to try and peel, but Bud, you got to apply some damage at the same time. Toxic Piece melting here. Looks like Cabbage will be the 4th to go down. Tribe once again. Look at them juggling this damage. Who are they? A bunch of clowns or just professional gamers? I can't tell.
Phenomenal game knowledge, phenomenal communication to be able to juggle the aggro like that. Great ace. That is the exact performance we expected out of Tribe. Toxic Piece. They did what they could. They put 2 kills on the board, but in the end, not going to be enough.
Not going to be enough. I mean, I like that you at least point out the 2 kills, and it's the real deal, man. You're facing up against Tribe, and you got to bring your A game, but I'm sure it's an honor to go up against this team right now. We'll see, man. Maybe they had some nerves. Maybe it was something wrong in their draft, but we'll go ahead and send this back over to the desk and keep this train rolling.
There, and honestly, I have to commend Tribe on not just over pushing that right there. They played this very carefully and very calculatedly. Like, they had an opportunity to maybe overstretch to end the game. They're just like, you know what? We're going to recall, we're going to reset, and then we're going to make sure we've guaranteed it.
Yeah, we know we've got it if in the bag if we just, kind of let things reset. We don't go too aggressive. If you go too aggressive, you risk, maybe your opponents can find a few kills, maybe get a little bit of momentum back, and all of a sudden the game takes another 5 to 10 minutes, and you don't know what's going to happen there. So I think it's smart call there to back off in that instance. Obviously, a lot of people would like to see them be more aggressive and go for that end, but in the end they did what is the better decision. And I like them because they're not playing this like they're playing against a play-in team. They're playing it like they would any other team.
They're playing with full respect. I mean, there's $5,000 on the line, so they absolutely should be playing with that respect. Let's take a look at where we are in our Razor Phone bracket, though. We are in the A quadrant currently now. Rampage Gods got their default win over Playful Things earlier on today. But we are currently looking at Tribe versus Toxic Piece. So whoever manages to win this series, very likely Tribe at this stage, will be going up against Rampage Gods in our quarterfinals. So excited to see how that's going to play out. But let's talk a little bit more about Tribe, because this isn't the first time that this team has been dominant. Let's take a look at our Rockstar Rewind of the preseason, because Tribe, while they are a dominant team, actually only finished 3rd in the preseason.
Yeah, it was a situation where they dropped a couple games down the stretch in the preseason, but that seemed to be almost a wake-up call for them, that they have to play better if they want to be the top team in North America. And you see some of the clips of when they're doing well, they do extremely well with this aggression, being able to go in as a unit and target selection. They almost always pick one member of a team, they die, and then they move on and start doing damage to someone else.
Yeah, absolutely. It's the coordination you see from this team. Like we saw in that final clip, Gabe Vizzle's ult was just phenomenal. But like, if you're going up a team, like we can compliment them all day. If you are a team like Toxic Piece, who had a good showing in game 1, what do you do to compete against a team of this caliber?
I mean, that's the toughest question, because there's so many different things you have to do, and it all has to come together in one game for you to be able to do it. So, things like being able to just win your lane, that just comes down to individual mechanics. But then rotations. Rotations, I think, is the most important thing for any up-and-coming team to work on, is being able to recognize the moment that an enemy team begins to make their rotation, you need to be answering it almost as soon as they do, like almost the instant that they start it. But then you have to worry about fake rotations, which could become a thing. It's not really a thing right now, but as teams continue to adapt and get better, that does start to become a concern.
There's definitely just vision control in general. It becomes the conversation at that point. I'm curious to see what Toxic Piece can do in game number 2 here, because they did a decent job in the early game of game number 1. But D'Enzio was an absolute standout player in this one. On the Kensei, was absolutely destroying people and diving very early on in the game. He was incredibly strong during preseason as well. To have statistics this high when you're finishing in 3rd place across the whole season, that's a commendable stat board right there.
Yep, absolutely is. I mean, the 72% average kill participation, that's a stat you're going to see kind of mimicked across all of the top players because of, again, the full team rotations that they like to engage in, so everyone gets involved.
Yeah, you don't want to be missing out on those kills, because most of the plays that you'll see Tribe make are 4 or 5 man plays. So you'll see the entire team rotate. I mean, me and you were discussing during the game about the laning phase, or basically lack thereof, because Tribe were just forcing issues across the entire map, making sure that the whole team is involved. They're going for these early dives. It was very difficult for Toxic Peace to play around that. But honestly, Toxic Peace actually did a very good job, especially in the early dives, to lose less casualties than it felt like they were going to.
Yeah, I mean, and that's one of the things, is being able to counter rotate so that you can answer those aggressive moves. And again, Toxic Peace did a pretty good job of it. Not quite good enough because, I mean, again, it's Tribe. They've been doing this for so much longer. But if you can minimize the impact that your opponents get off of those rotations, eventually you get good enough at the counter rotation that you can make it so they don't get anything off of their rotations, and instead you're just wasting their time, or they're wasting their time by making those rotations if you're able to defend it well enough.
Absolutely. Well, I think that the draft is just about ready, so we're going to go ahead and jump on into this game. It's going to be Tribe up against Toxic Peace, game number 2. The draft is underway, and we'll see how this is going to change coming into the second draft here. Already, we see a bit of a change-up. Kensei taken off the board.
Yep.
I can't say I blame Toxic Peace on that one after game number 1.
Yeah, I mean, Kensei has been very strong here today. Just got a little bit of a buff in update 3.6 that, wasn't quite, it didn't feel like it was
controversial
needed.
buff.
It didn't feel like it was a needed buff, but he got it. And so I think taking him off the board is just a smart decision.
Yeah, Kinetic and Rez are going to be taken away as well. These are pretty much the standard bans, honestly. We've seen some wacky bans across the course of today, but these ones seem very meta, as it were. So we'll see what the last ban is going to be. Likely Anchor, but then we didn't see Anchor through the entire draft for game 1 here. So maybe you just leave Anchor open. It's risky though.
Yeah, it's risky, but I think it's a risk that is okay to take at this stage, because there are so many compositions where you can build to counter the Anka, and she needs to have a composition built around her as well. So if your opponents pick Anka, you already have an idea of how they're going to want to build their composition as a whole.
Yep.
So I'm okay with the fact that Anka's kind of been slipping through. We're going to see Fortress and Finn both be the respective team's first picks. The Fortress pick is one that we've been seeing fairly frequently.
It's been one of the most common first picks. We've seen it banned a little bit, but the first pick is very strong. But we are going to see the Baron locked in, which, we saw Toxic Peace banning away the Baron from Tribe in game number 1 of this series. So I'm excited to see what Tribe are going to be able to do with that pickup and how hard they're going to be able to carry with that pickup, basically. Because Baron, if you can get the ball rolling, is absolutely terrifying to deal with. And now we need to see Toxic Peace locking in some hard engage. They've got to be able to dive on that carry and shut him down.
Yeah, and they kind of have started that. Oh my goodness. This composition is actually going to be very aggressive right now. They need the damage to round it out, but you have a Fortress who can provide a lot of movement speed and diving into a composition. Catherine can charge in with Merciless Pursuit and land a stun, or start a fight with a Blast Tremor. Flicker, obviously, if you can go in invisible and get into a good position before the fight even starts. So there's a lot of potential teamfight aggression on the side of Toxic Peace.
Tribe going full-on protection mode right now. You got a Grumpjaw to eat him up. You got a Churnwalker as well. Very much teamfight composition. A Varya locked in. We've got to see something with big damage. Gwen, I understand the Toxic Peace draft, but it feels lackluster. It feels like they're going to struggle to actually. Maybe if you can get a fantastic flicker up, maybe that will work and you'll be able to get in. But Gwen and Varya, not really the carries that I would say are going to be able to dive the backline and blow up a Baron.
Not only that, but the AoE isn't going to be there as heavily. The AoE burst that you get from like a Solar Storm, from a Celeste, isn't going to be there. Obviously, Varya does have a little bit of AoE with the Chain Lightning, but that's not an AoE burst effect that you'd see from a lot of other heroes. Scarf, Dragon's Breath is kind of similar vein, where it's an AoE that's going to just melt through an entire team. Varya's ultimate can fill that role, but you need to be able to keep her safe long enough for her to be able to do that. Of course, the composition, I can see how it can work. If you get the Varya ult off and then use the Catherine and the Flicker to keep people in place, it can work, but it's risky.
I'm excited to see if they can pull this off. The Flicker ultimate, I think, is the crux to this, but we'll have to see. Let's take a look at how this tournament is panning out, though, in our Poker Go format. We are currently in the round of 16. These guys are vying for their place in the quarterfinals. They have a best of 3 to do it, and if you lose out, it's single elimination, so you are going home. Let's bear in mind that last week was play-ins. That's where Toxic Peace have come from, and now they have to take on Tribe. But let's just remember as well, our Dollar Shave Club prize pool, this is what is on the line. $5,000 per region. $3,000 is the first place, and that's what these teams are going to be gunning for. But it's about time that we head on into this game. We've got Tribe going up against Toxic Peace. So let's get on to Sovereign's Rise. Let's see if Toxic Peace are going to be able to come back in this series, or whether this is going to be a Tribe 2-0.
Welcome to game 2 between Tribe and Toxic Peace. This is probably going to be a little bit closer than game 1. You have to imagine Toxic Peace getting a little bit of those nerves out of their system, but now Tribe playing a bit more aggressive than we saw in that game 1.
Not just are they getting the nerves out of their system, I think Tribe has made a mistake in terms of their draft composition. Joseph, for whatever reason, is on Churnwalker. You got Gavizzle on the Finn and Max Green on the Grumshaw. So that's going to be one very tanky composition, but it's going to come down to, do they have the damage to be able to secure these kills?
We'll see here. I mean, okay, so Churnwalker kind of enables more damage if you get people clumped up. The Baron obviously has got some nice splash damage, and Samuel can as well. I mean, you could be in a situation where, honestly, they could just kill like 3 people at one time.
Absolutely. They're going to need to be very reliant upon those chains. That's not something that Joseph is going to be able to miss. Definitely playing more of a utility style role here in this game, but not something that we've seen too much, if any, of in the meta.
Is there a way to play the Churnwalker as like a damage dealer?
In my opinion, no, not really. There might be some people that would disagree with that to some extent. But yeah, it's going to be very interesting. And like you said, they're going to be very reliant upon the splash damage, both from Samuel and from Baron, to kind of just multiply with those chains in order to find the damage in these team fights.
It's going to be interesting. Obviously, like DMZO, Zelsi are known for having good positioning among everything else that they're doing on the map. But like, if you have Finn Churnwalker on the front line with Max Green kind of filling in the gaps there, like, how do you actually get onto the Samuel or that Baron ever?
Also a great question that Toxic Peace is gonna have to try and figure out. I think a lot of it is gonna come from the Mooncloak out of Cabbage, whether it's him going in invisible or enabling his entire team. That's gonna be something that they're very reliant upon.
You make a good point there. That Mooncloak is definitely one of the surprise factors that they'll have to kind of use to their advantage, and we'll see if they're able to do so. Currently, though, 3 minutes in, no kills on the map, but Tribe, exactly as it spawns, will be over here taking the Crystal Treant away from Toxic Peace. They should get the double camp as well, and Toxic Peace makes the rotation over to Tribe's Crystal Treant, but it has not spawned just yet.
Yeah, definitely an important change to update 3.6. The timers are on all of the camps now, so teams are going to know exactly when the jungle is spawning in order to help out the rotation. And on top of that, all the jungle camps got buffed in terms of how much damage they're doing. So it's something that's a little more important to make sure you're doing together as a team.
Yeah, I think there was that one kill from Grace down in the jungle last game, and I feel like that was the kind of situation where she just took a little too much damage, and they were able to turn it around on her before she could take that camp down.
Exactly. A nice aggressive invade by Toxic Peace into Max Green jungle. Fortress looking to get a little bit aggressive. Not able to find the kill, though.
You see Max Green dropping low in bottom, Joseph dropping low up in top as they tried to make the go onto Cabbage. So simultaneous aggression coming out in both lanes, but nobody goes down.
Just a little bit of back and forth. Another slow start in this game as well. It wasn't until the mid game, once that Ghost Wing came online and Tribe started to secure it, that they really turned it up a notch and started to get aggressive. And it looks like it's going to be the same thing here in this game number 2.
If you had to predict Joseph's items here, what do you think? He'd probably finish up.
I definitely think he's going all utility. I would not be surprised to see a pulse weave. I think that there's going to be other utility items as well, whether that be a war treads, and he does in fact pick up that pulse weave And I think he's just going to continue to build tanky and try and just absorb as much damage and be as much of a nuisance in that front line as possible.
Yeah, that's gonna be. I mean, you want to deal with him even less now, right? This is not fun to be going up against him at this point. 5 minutes in, River Shops have arrived. Here in mid, though, Zelsier dishing out damage in the Drifting Dark. Zarku jumps in, taking him incredibly low. But because Exemplify has low health as well, they can't commit onto it. In the end, everybody lives. Zelsier should make it out. Exemplify Zarku as well. Crystal Treant, though, this is going to go over to, looks like, yeah, they're going to go ahead and get it. Honestly, it felt like Toxic Peace could have made that rotation.
Definitely a good rotation. Exemplify going low. Joseph finding some of those chains and Zio having to run away.
And Gary's Disciple did a good job to zone Dienzio back. A little Torment right on in. Get pulled back, guys. And they'll get blown up. First blood, second blood. Go get a third.
Yeah, those kills gonna open up the map as bunch. You see the Ghost Wing getting ready to spawn. Tribe immediately posturing in that direction, rotating towards it, and yeah, they're definitely going to secure that immediately.
Literally within the rhythm of the game right now.
Definitely good understanding of the timers. Gabe Vizzle probably being that in-game leader, making sure he's calling that out, making sure everyone's on the same page, and very aware of what's going on. Vortex trying to position a contest a little bit. It's not going to happen, though.
I was like, is we going to see a blast trimmer come through? Wait.
Level 4, not there yet.
Not going to happen right now. So these guys got to hang on. Just bend, don't break here for a couple of minutes, and we'll see if they can do so. Once again in the mid, Zelsier immediately into the Drifting Dark, just hammering those Malice and Verdicts home. His harass is incredibly efficient in this mid lane.
Yeah, it seems like some of these less experienced teams are having a little bit more trouble figuring out and adapting to a lot of these balance changes. Both Catherine and Fortress were nerfed in this update. A huge forced accord by Gabe Vizzle.
Oh my goodness, action down and bottom and mid at the same time. I don't know where to look right now, actually. It's gonna be Flicker going, oh, he ate him, he brought him back. Max Green got a kill at the healing platform. My goodness, there's everywhere on the map there was action happening.
I think that's the play that Leon was looking for with his teleport boots earlier. Max Green putting it to work, though.
Of course, it happens in NA, you know? NA is going to make it happen.
Max Green, interestingly enough, also has a second pair of boots. He might be working towards a pair of work treads, just giving more utility to his team as well. But this just looks like a hugely damage-reliant composition on the back of both Zelsier on that Samuel and Dienzio on the Baron.
We'll see. I mean, that was the item choice for Leon as well, although Max Green got the combo off with those teleport boots a little better. But the War Treads came out as the second item. I mean, it was very efficient.
Absolutely. Gabe Vizzle continuing to build some defense there for his team as well. Dienzio picking up a minion candy. Not an item we've seen too much in 5v5. Teams pick it up every now and again, but I definitely think Tribe is going to want to continue to put as much pressure onto the side of Toxic Peace as possible.
Dienzio's having a pretty good game. Hasn't gotten kills himself. Uh-oh, we'll hold that one. As Zarku tries to make the aggress onto Tribe here in mid. It gets turned around. A Trust Pass will disable Cave Vortex from getting anything done. Cabbage forced back. A little Ion Cannon onto 4. Man, maximum efficiency coming out on that Ion Cannon. Down and bottom. Zio's going to make the jump onto Gary's Disciple. Turn around with the Aces High, but Zio takes him down right under that turret. But Jump Jets means he's left vulnerable, and this is going to be a kill. Toxic Peace will get on the board.
They do pick up their first kill, but at 9 minutes in, you don't want to be down 5k in gold. Tribe continuing to exert their aggression, taking more team fights, going for this weapon Treant.
Man, this is Joseph and team starting to have a little bit of fun here. Boys and girls, Exemplify will get wrecked as the triple kill comes through for Zelsier. What a player. These guys having some fun putting this Churnwalker to work.
Ghost Wing spawning and Tribe rotating it immediately. This is going to be the second Ghost Wing capture that Tribe has taken immediately from when it has spawned. Not only are you getting that buff to continue the pressure, but you're also putting more gold in your pockets to extend the lead even further.
I'm ready to see a steal right now. Come on, it will pull Toxic Peace back into this one a little bit. Max Green over the wall here. Ghost Wing dropping low. Looks like Zio able to secure that one up. And Toxic Peace will try and rotate out of this. Zeo jump jets over the wall. Slap! Gary's Disciple, 280 damage. One more, he would have found the kill. That'll force out the Mooncloak super defensively. And as you talked about in the beginning of the game, that's not really what they're looking for.
No, they need to be using that Mooncloak to catch someone out, get a nice free pick, and then look to take a team engagement. But when you are this far behind, very hard to do.
Max Green rotating around Zarku, has teleportation ready to go if he chooses. Oh, his ult was on cooldown right. I thought he was just going to grab him and go. Down in bottom, though, Gary's Disciple. First to drop, Blast Trimmer comes back the other way. Means Exemplify can find 1 kill in return. Zeo held in place. Zeo taken down. Now Joseph has to run. Can they? Yeah, they should be able to chase him down here, but Zelsier shows up to the party. Oh, no! It's all over for Toxic Peace. Zelsier, he'll just slam him on down with the Malice and Verdict. They'll probably get Cabbage as well. Torment back into the wall. And Zelsier ruining the fun destroyer, party pooper of the year.
Zelsier looking phenomenal, stepping it up big time here for Old School, who's not in the game. Zelsier 5-0-2. Those drifting darks with the Malice and Verdict dealing so much damage.
That was attack the pack. Oh, he's got him. He's gonna teleport home. Zarku just got Ella giggled. Drop yours in chat now, or if you're more of a forehead may be appropriate here as well. PogChamp probably appropriate as well. Flash X.
That has got to be so annoying if you're a hot side of Toxic Peace.
No.
Nothing you can do about it. If you do not block that ability, you're dead, because Max Green is taking you to the fountain and you are not getting out of that.
No way out of that one. And man, those are the highlights. Those are the kind of clip plays, and everybody likes to see that happen here. But of course, Toxic Peace not liking it one bit. And we'll see if they can kind of clean things up here in the next couple minutes. Maybe find another kill or two. They're gonna really need to. And Cave Vortex is in an interesting position. It feels like his team doesn't want to fight. Gary's Disciple has no energy. Cave Vortex is going to die, and his team won't get anything out of this one. And in fact, Gwen was hanging around trying to do something. Gary's Disciple will go down. Cabbage dropping low as well. And Tribe, here's their patent pending. Maybe a patent issued at this point. Base dive. Cabbage wants to get back to the healing platform, has to take the long way around. And look at this squad here.
With how tanky their composition is, they're not going to be able... Cave Bizzle not shifting the aggro. They played it so well in game number 1. His team not stepping up for him in game number 2. I don't think he realized that there were still 2 turrets in that mid lane. I think that's why he ended up walking into that tier 2 turret. Definitely unfortunate to see that happen, giving away such a free kill.
It's really unfortunate. Sometimes, and you know this, players, like when you're behind, they feel like they have to make the play happen. Cabbage trying to force this lane forward because he feels like he's got to get it done. But if like one player can kind of bait your team into a bad fight, because that one player saying maybe he does see an opening, but he also knows you have to take a little bit more of a sketchy fight simply because you're so far behind. One person hesitates and it all falls apart.
Absolutely. There is so much utility on the side of Tribe. Vortex stepping up there, trying to contest a little bit, but I think that's not going to work out too well for him.
He should have tried to contest a lot bit. I'm thinking back on that one.
Absolutely.
Ion Cannon will come down over next to that Crystal Tree, enforcing Exemplify back. This will be a clean Black Claw take. And what are your percentages here on Tribe ending on this push?
I think this is going to be it. I think that they're going to push straight through all the way down into the base, and they got a lot of turrets to go through, but with how tanky their front line is, I think they're going to wrap things up here.
Little fire coming out of Black Claw here. And that first fire is so much damage. It actually just melts through these turrets and armories. And Max Green on the front side. Zeo actually decides to jump jet all the way forward. Max Green, he's stuffed up. He's going to port home. Max Green pulling the Elegant. This time onto Gary's Disciple. Have you ever seen such a play? Joseph and crew, they're in deep. They're looking over here for Cabbage. He's going to be able to squirt out. Will he? Yeah, no, he's trying to dip back in. Cabbage, I think you might have bit off more than you can chew. Diencio's behind you now. Blast Trimmer will come through right as the Catherine dies. exemplify the only member standing over here for Toxic Peace, and it will be a toxic loss here as he will probably get put to sleep and then watch his Vein Crystal melt down. They're even gonna pull him back. Are they gonna get that kill? They got the kill, Flash. Tribe ending this one in style, 4-24. I mean, I might hold that. They might get another kill before it's all said and done. But this is a 15-minute victory, man.
Phenomenal execution from beginning to end. They knew exactly how they wanted to execute, and they executed it incredibly well. So much utility spread beautifully throughout the team, making sure those 3 frontline tanks, protecting your backline carries. Tribe definitely the team to beat here in North America.
Tribe looking absolutely phenomenal. I love the itemization, love the draft. Had an awesome time casting with you, Flash. It's great to have you here. And with that, we'll go ahead and throw it back over to the analyst desk.
There we have it, 2-0 to Tribe as the Tribe hype train cruises casually into the station and snags that victory. What a way to do it for them. Very comfortable win on their half. You have to give it to Toxic Peace. They did a good job to kind of hold some of the aggression in the early game, but Tribe, definitely the team to be talking about right now.
Yeah, and their ability to juggle the turret aggro when they go for these dives, I think is one of the most impressive things about Tribe. And we see it constantly where they'll go for this dive. You see someone get close to dying, and you're like, oh, this was a terrible decision. They're about to die, and then they get out of turret range. Someone else picks it up, and the entire time it's the carries not being touched by the turret.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's take a look at where we are in the tournament off the back of this series. Tribe are going to be moving on in our Razer phone bracket. You can see them up in the top of our bracket. Tribe just defeated Toxic Peace, so they'll be moving on into our quarterfinals against Rampage Gods. We'll be looking at the rest of the quadrants over the course of tomorrow and next weekend as well. So that'll be our round of 16 moving on through here. So we'll see how that's all going to be panning out. But I want to talk a little bit about the paths that some of these teams have through the bracket. And I'll start off by talking about Tribe because they have, I don't want to sugarcoat it too much, right? They have a pretty easy route through this one. They are definitely the strongest team in their side of the bracket. And the hardest team they're going to be having to go up against on their half of the bracket is going to be Hammers, who really didn't have a good showing in preseason. So they have a lot of leeway here. The toughest run is going to be Liberation X. This is a team that has a very difficult half of the bracket to deal with. They've got, first of all, Nova is their first opponents, which is a tricky one. That's your second seed anyway. And then they also have Vision Gaming in their half of the bracket. So best case scenario, semifinals, they have to take out Vision, which is another huge matchup. So definitely a tricky one.
Yeah, very difficult road for them, but if they can get there, the amount of confidence that they're going to have going into that, what could be a finals matchup if they make it, would be insane because of the teams they've taken out.
Absolutely. Let's take a look at our schedule for next week, or not next weekend, sorry, for tomorrow. We are still going to be here tomorrow morning. This was our schedule of what's happened today. We had a default win going the way of Raw Fury. Danger Zone didn't manage to make it to their match. Then we had a 2-0 towards Clash in Europe. Then in North America, we had Rampage Gods taking a win over Playful Fangs as Playful Fangs roster has disbanded. And then we had Tribe Gaming managing to take a clean 2-0 over Toxic Peace. Now, before we wrap up the show, let's have a quick word from Razer. All right, well, that just about does it for us here today. We've had 2 very clean victories across the course of today. Clash managing to get a 2-0 in Europe, and then Tribe managing to get a 2-0 in North America. That's going to be it from us, from myself, from Tasty Bacon, and from production. We're going to be saying good night, and make sure to join us tomorrow at 9 o'clock in the morning for our semi-final match, or for our round of 16 matches. Why am I saying semi-finals? Too used to the old format. That's going to be it from us, though. Thank you very much for joining us, and we'll see you tomorrow in the morning.